Hi, Dr. John Waterhouse here, and welcome to day number 7 of this 7-part video series. Now, over the last 6 videos, we've discussed a whole lot of information when it comes to things that you can be doing with your pet during isolation or lockdown with COVID-19. And so today, video 7, or the topic of video 7, I've been getting questions all the way through the video series about this topic, and that's weight and weight gain. And this is especially important during confinement because we're still feeding the same amount of food, but they're no longer burning those calories. So if we take the calorie burn away, they lay down that excess food as fat. And so our pets are getting heavier while they're not doing those activities that they normally would do before COVID-19. And so putting on weight actually is a big problem for our pets at any stage of their life cycle, from puppies all the way to our grand geriatric pets, because we know additional weight puts additional stress on a joint. And when I'm talking about additional stress, there was a study that was done that showed for every 1 extra pound of weight, that equated to 4 additional pounds of shear force going through a joint. So if we use the example of a Labrador Retriever that could be 10 pounds overweight, that equates to an additional 40 pounds of shear weight put through the joint. And so where this becomes a problem is for older animals, or animals with degenerative joint disease that already have inflamed joints, already have arthritis in their joint. We're putting additional shear force through that joint, creating more discomfort, more inflammation, and at the end of the day, more irritability to that joint. And we've talked through the video series why it is important, especially in the first 3 videos, to have movement in that joint. Keep those joints moving, especially in isolation, because when we don't use it, we lose it. And losing that muscle mass around that joint makes the joints now not so stable. They start to move a little bit more. If there's degenerative joint disease, they start to hurt a little bit more. If we're adding weight and excess weight to the equation, they start to overload. And we start to see our pets struggling with confinement, with additional weight gain. The day-to-day activities of life start to get a little harder, from getting up to getting down. And these are things that this whole video series is about protecting. Help build motion back into the joints, help build muscle mass, help build conditioning to slow down that loss of muscle, that loss of condition while they're under confinement with COVID-19. Because I know I've lost condition. I know friends have put on weight. And this is the same for us, and it's the same for our pets. Where this comes more of a problem as well, we've talked about our geriatrics, but also puppies, because there's been an influx of puppies during COVID-19. I can count on the back of all my fingers and my toes neighbours around here that have got puppies during COVID-19. And we don't want puppies putting on too much weight, because they can grow too fast, especially in our larger breed dogs. We're then opening them up for developmental issue, OCD lesions in the elbow, the shoulder, different problems that we see when puppies, especially large breed puppies, grow too fast. So we now need to think about things we can do to monitor our pets during this time. And so there's a great body condition score scale, 1 to 9, that we use in the clinic to gauge how pets, from morbidly obese to anorexic, on the scale. And we want our pets to be around 4.5 to 5 on that 1 to 9 scale. And that means that we want to be able to feel their ribs when we touch their rib cage. We want to have an undercut of the belly. We want to see that nice scoop, and we want to be able to feel on the top of their back, their intervertebral processes. We don't want to be able to see their ribs because that means they're too skinny, and we don't want to be able to not feel their ribs because then they're too heavy. And that's a good scale, because we as a society have been programmed to think of our pet companions as a normal body weight actually is obese. And I know you might be shocked by that, because in humans, we have been conditioned that the skin, in all our magazines, TV commercials, that skinny is skinny, and we know quickly what is overweight, because all the magazines have skinny models, all TV shows have skinny actors, and we know what an overweight person looks like and what a normal person should look like. That, for our canine companions, has totally been put on its head. So from day one, fat, chubby puppies, all the puppies or dogs in magazines, our show dogs, are traditionally overweight on that 1 to 9 scale, because they look voluptuous, they look rounded, they look in the picture of health. And so we, as a profession, have a very hard time explaining that to our clients in the consultation room, because there was a study done by AKC where they looked at show dogs and they gave questionnaires to show dog owners. And show dogs are the pinnacle of the breed standard. And they asked them to rate their pet on the 1 to 9 scale, where they fell on the scale. And most people thought they fell around 4 on the scale. But when they came back and they did the evaluation and they showed them where their actual show dog fit on the scale, most of them were around a 6 and a 7 out of 9 on the condition score scale. So they were obese or almost morbidly obese. And we know that 50% of adult dogs in America are morbidly obese. So this is the problem we need to think about. And so the number one thing, your friend, is the scale. And so I really encourage you, every week, weigh your pet. If it's able to be just placed on the scale, so it's a small dog, you can see. But some small dogs are too light to get the scales to work. So I will pick them up, stand on the scale, weigh myself, and then weigh myself again with the pet in my hands to see what their body weight is, and keep a chart and write down every week what their body weight is. If they're a little bit bigger, they can stand on the scale themselves, or if you're able to, and I stress this, if you're able to, you can pick up a medium-sized dog and do the same thing. Our larger breed dogs can be a little bit more challenging because we may not be able to pick them up, and we don't want to go to a place like a vet clinic that has a scale. So I encourage you, if you have 2 scales, you put their front legs on one scale, their hind legs on the other scale, add up the 2 weights, and that gives you their body condition weight. So it's really easy, but this gives you a really great way to measure and track how your pet is going. If you think they're overweight slightly, I then recommend you cut back their food by 10%. And so what that means is either you can weigh their food and take 10% out, or just visually take 10% out. Because if we can get your pet to lose 10% weight, if they're higher than a 5 on the body condition score, this will be the best thing you could ever do for your pet. I talk about it in my webinars and my teaching to veterinarians and rehab professionals. Just a change of 10% in body weight actually means that I can take some of my clients off nutraceuticals, off different pharmaceuticals, off medications, because we're getting less force through that joint. Remember, 1 pound equals 4 pounds of additional stress through that joint. We're making them more comfortable. And this is really important now during lockdown. And so hopefully I've touched a little bit on that question. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this because I've been flooded with incredible questions over the last 6 videos of this series. Too many questions to deal with in video 7 that I've said I was going to deal with. So I've created a webinar just for answering the questions. And the link to this webinar is down below in the comments. Oh, when we're talking about that, if you're finding any part of this video series informative, helpful, please, I really would love if you could click the subscription button, click the like, because it really helps me know that you guys are watching and you approve of what I'm doing. But also in this webinar that the link will be down below, we're talking about also a program that can help you now in these COVID times. I think you might have noticed something different in the background. And we're going to be talking about this program and how this program can work to help you condition, build strength, monitor your pet, help with nutraceuticals to help with pain and inflammation, and just generally answer all those questions that have come in over the last 6 videos. So hopefully you've got something out of this, and I really appreciate you getting to video number 7. It's been a fantastic journey. As I said, the questions, the comments have been incredible, and that's why we're doing an additional webinar, and that might be about 45 minutes to an hour. There've been that many questions, just giving you the information, the resources that you guys have been asking for. So I want to thank you because your time is precious, and hopefully you've got something out of this video series, and I look forward to seeing you on the webinar. Bye-bye.